Hi everyone, my name's Declan McGlynn. Welcome to Friday Forum Live, Point Blank's weekly broadcast bringing you exclusive tutorials, artist interviews and industry insight every Friday, live from East London. Today we're joined by Jonas and Martin from Mumbai Science to get an insight into their production using Logic Pro. So yeah, we're super excited to be joined by Mumbai Science, whose new album, Deja Vu, has gained support from heavyweights like Annie Mac, Tiga, Errol Alkin and Sowax. They're here today to talk about their production techniques, including their workflow in Logic Pro, layering drums and breathing life into soft synths. And remember, we are completely live and interactive, so ask your questions in the comments and we'll get to them at the end of the broadcast. And if you want to learn more about these techniques and a whole lot more, you can find out about our mixing courses at online.pointblanklondon.com. So welcome, guys. How's it going?
Great to be here, thank you.
Yeah, cool. So we're going to take a look at, I guess, this first track. Do you want to introduce it and how it came about?
Sure, it's called King of the Top Floor. It's on our album called Deja Vu. It's a collaboration we did with DJ Spank. I don't know if you know him. He's part of the legendary, for us it's legendary, Future collective, who kind of invented acid house. So we're really, really proud of this track. So yeah, maybe we can
listen to it. Let's have a listen to it first.
Top floor. I'm the king of the top floor. I'm the king of the top floor. I'm the king of the top floor.
Made a track, how we come up with a track, and step by step how we improve it from a demo to a master, a mix and master track.
Yeah, nice. So maybe we should take a look at the demo then first. I mean, it's got that real kind of classic vibe, like acidy, swinging 303, resonant bass. How did you go about creating that?
Well, it always starts with one jam session because we came from this rock band background.
Yeah.
And we always start by just jamming away, just coming together on an afternoon, just having some fun. And I found the first demo we made of the track, which is basically a drum loop with a synth over it, and it's just that, and that's how it started. It's just made in 1 hour or 2 hours or so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
So this is a drum loop we made. It's basically the same as how it ended up to be. I think you made it or something on the machine drum.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it was made.
I think this one was machine drum, and then we were jamming. In the first session, we were jamming on hardware synth, because if we do a jamming session, we always use our Move Little Fatty for bass lines, and the drums we like recycle or we use a machine drum.
And that's your like drum machine drum.
Yeah.
So you see, I think like 80% of the track was done in the first 2 hours that we started producing it. So like the little synths, the bad kind of synths, we call it that way, was already there. And the bass line is another hook, but it's kind of the same sound as how it ended up to be. So the thing that bothered us with this demo was that after 10 minutes, the bass line it's like a bass line that you've heard a million times, and I think we already made the same hook a million times before. So we changed it a little bit, and this is what happened after, well, the next 2 hours, I guess, after we played FIFA or something.
We always take breaks playing FIFA because it's really important to be in a good mood when you produce, because apparently there's something like here's a science part from our name, something like the problem and bill theory in positive psychology, and it says
science.
if you're in a good mood, you are more creative.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone can relate to that as well, yeah.
So yeah, this is made in the same afternoon. The only difference with the first version is that the bass line, the hook in the bass line, you know, the pattern, we changed it. And this is how it ended up to be in the final version as well, I think. So that was the first afternoon. And I think this version is the next day, where I just mixed it a little bit better. It's still not perfect, but...
So most of the time we jam together, and then Martin goes, takes it a step further and goes into the details, because he is a really big perfectionist. He can spend hours just turning that one knob. Yeah. That's not my strongest point, so I'm really happy that he's there. Yeah, I'm the science guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I keep him happy, so he's creative.
And he also tells me when to stop.
Right, yeah, you need that too.
If I don't have him, this track would never have been finished.
Yeah, plus not just finishing, but you can also overmix things.
Yeah,
before you
exactly,
just go too far into
yeah,
it.
because you want to keep it interesting, but for other people it's interesting enough.
Yeah.
But for yourself, who has been producing it for hours and hours and hours, it's not interesting anymore. So we just start adding elements or changing stuff or making more variations of
With
it.
a track like this, it's really important because it's really dance floor minded, and most of the time dance floor minded tracks, they just need a good hook and some things around that. But if you overproduce it, then it doesn't work in the club anymore. So it's really
What
easy
would
to
be
do.
your tips for keeping the club in mind when you're listening to the same thing over and over again? Because a lot of the time what works best on the dance floor is minimal, less is more, kind of like one strong hit, one strong kick. But you don't really want to hear that over and over again, so you tend to go, it needs more, it needs more, it needs more.
It's not easy because for us also, I think that the best tracks we made are the tracks that we made in a really short time.
Yeah,
because it's just it fits the picture. You just stop at one point and then finish it off, and those are the best tracks. Because if you start working on it and working on it and working on it, it's like you said, it's not dance floor minded anymore. And but tips for that.
Try to get in the same mood.
Yeah.
So try to be in a happy mood. Try to be, well, I wouldn't say drunk, but you know,
it helps sometimes.
It helps.
Sometimes. Don't overdo it though,
No,
because
like a glass of wine or a beer when you're producing, it can help. Yeah.
But yeah, in good mood is everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So should we move on to the next section?
Okay, so I think this is the version we sent to the label.
Yeah,
Because-
and then we had a big talk with Dr. Electrolove, and we noticed the track was missing something because it's still really repetitive. It's a good hook, but we thought that it could use something more, and we were thinking about doing a vocal. And I think is the next one my demo vocal. Yeah, this is okay. We found the very first demo vocals, and of course we do them ourselves because you know we're not singers. Our English isn't perfect, as you've noticed, but yeah. So we tried to make something, and then we're gonna play a little clip.
Can I play it all?
Yeah, no. Let's hear a little clip of me on
This
vocals.
is Jonas. I think you had the track on your computer or something.
I think I just did it with the internal mic of the MacBook.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So I asked him to just jam it because he's the vocalist. So yeah, this is it.
Working on the top floor.
This is Jonas.
Nice.
The first
Top floor.
vocal on King of the Top Floor came from
Working
Jonas
on the top
in a crappy English accent, but
Yeah.
you see that
Working on the top
we already knew where we were heading.
Yeah,
This
because
point,
it's
you know?
Working
the
on
whole
top.
album.
Trying
Deja Vu
hard to
has.
be best. Working
Okay, we can stop now with this track. The whole theme of Deja Vu of the album is like a bit of a dystopian future where parking has been reduced to handing out business cards.
Okay.
And so we were looking for something like that lyric-wise for this track. And then we were thinking about, like, let's just write lyrics from the point of view from a really big guy, a really big CEO on the top floor bragging very hard about what he's reached. But if you look deeper into the lyrics, you see that actually has nobody to share his wealth with, so it's pretty sad. I don't think anybody will get that deeper meaning, and it's not really our point to get it across, but that was like something that was in our back of our minds. And then I think we went to Dr. Electrolove with this, And he said, well, why don't you send it to Spanky? Because he's an old friend of mine. And let's get you in the studio together, let's get you collaborating on this track. And we sent it over, and actually he was really excited to work for us, for the track. So yeah, we got his version of the lyrics back, which were way better. It was really, for us it was the first time, one of the first times working with vocals. And what really struck me was that as a non-native speaker, that the way that you pronounce words or where you put the accents on words is really different. So that was one of the big differences. And you know, he added some of the lyrics as well, which were way better than what we wrote.
Cool.
So this is what we got from him. He pitched down the vocal, which he always does, and it sounds so bad, badass. Like,
Yeah.
like
Feel the presence of the best.
it's an angry CEO.
Yeah.
It's like CEO from hell.
But he got the concept, obviously.
Yeah.
Right, for the tone. Yeah.
Yeah,
He got it
completely
straight
understood
away,
it
and
Looking up
yeah,
to
sent him
me.
some great lyrics here.
Don't try to steal my style.
I like this part. Like this part.
It's not the money, it's the power.
So angry.
It's not the money, it's the power. It's not the money, it's the power. It's not the
It's
money,
not the money, it's the power, yeah.
It's not the
So,
money,
and then
it's
the only
power.
thing
It's not
left
the
for us to
money,
do was
it's the
combine
power.
the
It's not
two-
the money,
the
it's
two
the
tracks
power. It's
and-
not the
and
money,
try to
it's
mix
the
it down a little bit.
power.
So yeah, I think the next step was to also do the arrangement of the track, because at that point it was just one hook and a lot of vocals. And we kind of did a little bit the arrangement of a verse and a chorus, and yeah, like two themes really.
Okay.
And I think this is the last export that came from us before we handed it to a friend of ours who mixed it again. Because for our album, we wanted someone to listen to it again with a clear mind, with like clean ears, to say it like that, and to mix it again. So this is the last So this is like the chorus, to put it that way.
That was again a big challenge, thinking about tracks as in verse, chorus, pre-chorus kind of way, because we wanted, with the album, we wanted to make it a bit more about songs, not just hooks on the dance floor. So we've learned a lot making this album, yeah. This is the verse part, obviously.
But then the next one is.
Next one is mix.
Next one is the mix.
Yeah.
Let's just check.
And it sounds,
A lot brighter,
yeah.
a lot deeper as well. Yeah, just more pronounced. I think he did a wonderful job with it, because I think the time between the first demo and the last export that I did, I think the first demo was made in April last year, and the last export was in October, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of months. So there's no way you can listen to it with a clear mind.
And as a mixer, we wanted someone who had a rock background as well, because the live sound, the live feel of our track is really important to us. So we searched for someone who was really who was really from a rock background. So yeah, and then the last step was off to mastering, and that we did an exchange. And you can hear the difference again. This is the master version.
So that's one that ended up on the record.
And this one ended up on the record, yeah.
So maybe we should take a look at the sounds themselves. Then.
Yeah.
This bass line itself, this Jupiter 8, right? Is that right?
It's a Jupiter 8, yeah. I have it over here, and this is just a synth. And
It's the
I
plug-in
think-
Jupiter 8, not the actual Jupiter 8.
Yeah, the plug-in.
Yeah.
Because like Jonas said, we mostly jam on hardware, and then we end up remaking it in software, which is maybe a weird way to do
Yeah.
it, because a lot of people think,
Do it the other way around.
why are you using software when you do have hardware? It's most of the time it is because we make our tracks on the road as well,
Yeah.
and we want it to be with us when we're not home.
Yeah.
Because once you record a hardware synth, it's just a sample, and you can't edit it enough anymore. Gives you way more freedom to make adjustments on the road. So
this is a Jupiter.
This is the preset that you've tweaked.
It's I think it's something we made ourselves a little bit. It's 3 Jupiters in one. It's most of it comes from this one, and then we add a sub underneath it. I think this is just a little bit of white noise.
Yeah.
I also tend to do a little bit of this reverb on it, but just a little bit.
And you've got the pedal board from Logic on there. Is that something you use all the time?
Yeah, for the album we did it. We used it a lot actually. Oh, actually, this is the
sound,
one.
yeah.
They were actually switched off.
Yeah, they were switched off.
And
This is
yeah,
a great way to get your synths to sound more like live instruments.
Right. And give it that like amplified guitar pedal.
yeah, and it's
tone
just
and crunch.
we like it. We like our synths to be really dirty actually. Like, if you listen to it like that, you think, geez, it's distorted and it sounds really, really bad. But if you listen to it in the track, it makes so much sense, I think.
Yeah.
There's also a little bit of chorus on it. I think I did it because the synth is really prominent in the track, and I thought it could have a little bit of chorus.
Cool, and there's some EQ as well. It's the
Yeah,
API.
this is my triple EQ. This is not standard. I would suggest for people to just keep one EQ on it. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah, we came from a rock background, as we mentioned before, and the do-it-yourself attitude really stuck with us. So at home we have actually some of these pedals laying around, and we try to wire everything through. It sounds horrible, and then we try to make it again. So it's just about experimenting with it and having fun. It might not be the theoretical correct way to do it, but it's a fun way to do it, and
you
it sounds.
You have to keep it fun and think
Yeah,
about the music and not stress out about all the technical stuff.
Yeah, totally. And from a sound design point of view, when you're making club music and you're making something that's quite minimal and there's only a few elements, those pedal board things and distortion and that kind of thing add so much harmonics to fill in the gaps that aren't there from other elements. So it makes sense in a mix sense as well. Speaking of mixing, Hive Mind, should we move on to that track?
Of course,
Yeah, sure.
of course.
What a nice Siggy that was.
Nice.
Hive Minds.
Cool, so this is a different track on the album. This
Yeah.
one we're going to take a look at some more sound design and the synths themselves.
So this is actually the opening track. We really wanted to have like a big, smooth opening. Like you can imagine us playing on a big festival stage and putting this on, and everybody's like, yeah. And then they wait for 3 minutes and then they start dancing.
I just have the synths over here, and then all the rest of the track is in this one. I did it just because we wanted to zoom in on the synthesizer, I guess. So yeah. Do we want to hear the full intro, or should I just skip it a little bit?
Just skip it a little bit. Yeah, just skip it.
So again, we try to make it sound pretty live. The drums are not something you would use for a club or
Again, I've layered the synths a little bit. This is a top one.
More pedal board.
This is a sub. Can you hear it?
Yeah. And it's all Jupiter Ray, is that like your go-to?
That's our go-to plugin. Because there are so many plugins around, but we kind of stick to one or maybe two or something.
Yeah,
Because I think you can do almost anything with all the plugins these days. So it's better to know one plugin really well than to use like 20 different synth plugins.
We have a house rule. Martin, being the technical wizard, he needs to know like everything about a synthesizer that he bought before he can buy a new one, because otherwise he would never stop. He would never stop buying your synths. And I'm like, okay.
We are on a strict budget, which is
Struggling-
also why
struggling artists.
we use Logic Express actually instead of Logic Pro.
It's the struggle is real.
The struggle is real, and also
It's true.
yeah,
The struggle is real.
And Jonah has a kind of gambling problem.
Well, so look at the EQ then in that case. I mean, you've got NLS as well with the Middle Waves plugin. Maybe you could open that and show us what you do with NLS.
This one?
Yeah.
I use this just as a way to drive for the drive actually, because it simulates outboard equipment.
Yeah.
And like we said, we kind of bring the outboard into our computer because we're so much on the road, and we want to make tracks on the road as well. And this one, yeah, it's like you said, adds a lot of harmonics. It makes it sound a little bit dirtier, a little bit realer than because I can show you what it sounds like without all the plugins.
Yeah, like
It sounds like a standard.
Yeah.
synth
I mean, it
plugin.
sounds like a substance, you know.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Exactly.
But it's quite simple what you've done. I mean, it's not.
The pedal board adds so much.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
wah pedal, I don't really use it for a wah effect, but it just the soundscape of it, like the EQing, I don't know what it does exactly, but it sounds really dirty, and we love it like that. This one, again, I don't use it for the out of funk effect, but it adds something to it, and it makes it so much less standard, more like live instruments and stuff like that. The squash compressor just makes it, destroys it actually. And again. This EQ, I think I just use it to automate it, to filter it a little bit.
But there does sound like there's quite a lot of automation going on in that
Yeah,
line.
there's a
Could
lot
you
of
just maybe
automation.
open it up and we can have a look at it? Do you just draw that in, or do you use latch or?
I draw it in actually. Like here, just before the drop. It filters the low a little bit. This is one of my
Favorite drawings.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just adding a little bit of
Yeah, just
dynamics
variation.
at the break.
Because the synth is throughout the whole track, it's just the same synth doing the same thing, so it needs a lot of automation, I think. Yeah, exactly. Standard move in Mumbai Science music.
And every other dance track. Yeah. Filter that. It's fine.
Filtering.
And this, yeah, just to, it comes from the background into the foreground.
Yeah. Cool. So we are kind of like approaching time. So just want to say, if anybody does have any questions, now is the time to get them in. We're going to go through them in a couple of minutes. So maybe just quickly talk about your master bus, because you mentioned that you got someone else to mix
Master
the
bus.
album.
This
Do
is
you
my
ever-
master bus.
Just L2. Is that always the plugin that you use?
But if I send it, I never master our own tracks. We always send it to well, our album was mastered by The Exchange.
Yeah.
But it could be anyone, because for us, I think it's really important to have someone listen to the track from another view maybe,
Yeah.
and just because you get lost in your track if you work a lot of hours.
Yeah, and you're too close to it, and
Exactly.
yeah, it always helps.
I never have anything on my master bus.
Do you ever do your
Almost
own
never.
master just to play something out before it's
Yeah, but then only the L2.
just L2,
to-
bring it down until you're happy, and then
Yeah.
export?
Exactly.
Cool. So yeah, let me just jump in on these questions and see what you guys want to know. It's quite a lot of stuff.
Not about Jonas's gambling problem.
No,
Yeah.
you don't take personal questions.
Yeah, so Paul Fragala, good name, has asked, when you produce, how long do you find that it takes to finish an individual track?
I think we're an exception in this case because it takes us months. We're really bad at, and that's mostly Martin's fault, really bad at finishing tracks. Because we make a lot of demos and we make a lot of, like we jam a lot, we come together, we just spend the afternoon like two kids having fun with instruments. And then after that, the decision process of which are we going to use, which ones are good enough, that's the first step, and then it takes us, each step takes us a few days to accomplish. So I think an average track, about a month or two, month and a half.
Yeah, but it's not like working on it all day long or something, because I think like for King of the Top Floor, 80% of the track was done in the first hour, and then it's the next 10% that comes the next day or something, and it just goes on and goes on until you're like doing 2 weeks on the last few bits.
Yeah. Do you find
then
that happens a lot where the majority is done at the start, and then
it
the
gets
rest
hard.
is just smaller steps?
Yeah, it's the small things that just
Make
makes
it
you
harder.
mad,
Yeah, but you know, we don't work 8 hours a day on the same track. Never.
Mhm.
It's that would make us crazy,
Yeah.
even crazier than we are already.
And do you think that that kind of making demos culture is somewhat disappeared in electronic music because you can upload it so quickly to SoundCloud? It's just like
Well,
export, it's done, put it online, move on.
I don't think I think there's more demos than ever before, but people send them out way quicker than they used to, and they call it tracks maybe. But yeah, that was something we had to learn, like sit on a track a little bit longer. And now, Martin, if you're working on something, sometimes you say you can't hear it until I finish it a little bit better, because the first listening session we have together, he really wants me to give input that matters. So it's really important that if you send a track out there, that you know that it's the best that you can do, so that any feedback you get will actually mean something to you. Because if you send a track that's not really finished and somebody says something really obvious, then you lose a chance to get feedback that would be useful.
Yeah, on its first listen, exactly.
Yeah, so the first listen is
because
so important.
when I'm, for example, working on a demo and I want Jonas to listen to it, I make sure that I like it first. Because otherwise, he'll just say the things that I think as well.
Yeah.
And then his
And
first
then it's
listen, which is so
useless.
important, is gone.
Yeah.
His ears are spoiled.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to ask actually, when you're approaching arrangement, I mean, you mentioned you jam a lot, jam things out and stuff. Does it usually stay in that jammed form? Is that a kind of a natural way, or do you have, we want to have it up to 16 bars, it's this, 32 bars later, it's this?
Yeah.
Or?
We pretty much have to stick to the rules, especially when we're like making a dance floor minded track. You got to make it fun to play as a DJ as well, because we play those tracks and we just want tracks that we can like play, feel good playing, and knowing that we will be able to add some effects while we're DJing, and knowing that it will be a normal.
Most of the time
track.
when we jam, it's tracks that are 15 minutes long or something, because
just
we make a drum
loops.
loop, and then Jonas goes to the Moog Little Fatty, adds some of his magic. I go to my monotribe, just doing stuff that's not even in tempo maybe or something. So it's like a lot of ideas packed together in 15 minutes. So you need to pick the best pick the best parts, do something with that, make your arrangement. Well, I wouldn't say standard, but playable.
Playable,
on the dance floor.
Yeah,
Not
cool.
standard, playable.
Yeah.
Of course.
So yeah, we are unfortunately out of time, so we're just going to have to wrap up. But thanks a lot for coming in, guys.
Thanks, it
It's
was a
been
pleasure.
really cool. And thanks for watching, everyone. And remember, if you want to learn more about mixing, you can study music production here at Point Blank. Visit online.pointblanklondon.com for more information on our courses. And if you want to see more of Mumbai Science, which obviously you do, they'll be joining our friends at MixMag at 4 p.m., right? For a session in the
4
lab. So yeah, make sure you tune into that too on MixMag's channel. And we'll see you next week for another FFL. And I just want to quickly say, it is our cameraman Stu's last day. He's been the guy working his magic behind the...
Yeah.
Gonna be sad. It won't be the same. It won't be the same without you, mate.
Ah.
But yeah, so we'll be back next Friday for another FFL sans stew, unfortunately, but we'll do our best. Cheers. See you then.
Love you guys.